Welcome everyone to a journey back in time. Today, we're diving deep into the past to meet one of the most incredible creatures to have ever walked the earth. Imagine a powerful predator, built like a tank, with teeth so long they look like swords. Now, imagine this fierce animal was also a marsupial, meaning it probably raised its young in a pouch, just like a modern-day kangaroo or koala. This amazing animal is called Thylacosmilus, and its nickname, the saber-tooth with a pouch, perfectly captures just how unique and mind-blowing it was. This wasn't a cat, a tiger, or anything you might think of when you hear saber-tooth. It was something completely different, a true, one-of-a-kind marvel of evolution. Thylacosmilus lived millions of years ago, long before the first humans, in a world that was wild and full of giant beasts. It roamed the grasslands and woodlands of South America, which at the time was an isolated island continent. This isolation allowed a whole host of strange and wonderful animals to evolve, and Thylacosmilus was one of the top predators of its day. Its existence is a fantastic reminder that nature can come up with similar solutions to similar problems in very different ways. The saber-tooth design appeared in true cats, but it also appeared in this completely unrelated lineage of marsupial mammals. It's a story of incredible adaptation and a testament to the power of the wild. What makes Thylacosmilus so fascinating to scientists and animal lovers like me is that it challenges our expectations. When we think of top predators, we usually picture placental mammals like lions, wolves, or the famous saber-toothed cat Smilodon. But here we have a marsupial that filled that same role. It was a powerful, dominant hunter that sat at the very top of its food chain. Studying its fossils is like opening a window into a lost world, a world where the rules of the animal kingdom were written a little differently. It shows us that there isn't just one way to be a successful predator, and that evolution is full of surprises. So, get ready to explore the life and times of this prehistoric superstar. We're going to look at its incredible anatomy, from those jaw-dropping teeth to its powerful body. We'll journey to its ancient habitat to see what life was like for this hunter. We will uncover how it stalked its prey, and what made it such a successful killer for millions of years. The story of Thylacosmilus is more than just a tale about an extinct animal. It's a story about survival, competition, and the amazing branching paths of evolution. It's a wild ride into a past that feels like it's from another planet, so let's get started. Let's get up close and personal with the anatomy of this incredible creature. The first thing you'd notice about Thylacosmilus are, of course, its teeth. These weren't just long. They were enormous, saber-like canines that grew continuously throughout the animal's life, a bit like a rodent's incisors. Unlike the saber-toothed cats, whose teeth were flattened like blades, the teeth of Thylacosmilus were more triangular in cross-section. These massive fangs were so long that they extended down past its lower jaw. To protect them, the animal had a huge bony flange, a sort of sheath, growing down from its chin. It was like having built-in scabbards for its giant teeth. This unique feature is something we don't see in the saber-toothed cats. Moving on to its skull, Thylacosmilus had a very powerful and robust head, but it was also quite different from a cat's. Its bite force wasn't actually that strong, which might sound strange for a top predator. Scientists believe this is because it didn't use its jaw muscles to kill. Instead, it likely used its incredibly strong neck and upper body muscles to drive those saber teeth down into its prey with immense force. The skull also shows that it had forward-facing eyes, giving it excellent binocular vision. This depth perception would have been crucial for judging distances and accurately striking its prey during a hunt, ensuring those precious teeth hit their mark. What about the rest of its body? Fossil evidence suggests that Thylacosmilus was a stocky and muscular animal, roughly the size of a modern jaguar. It had powerful forelimbs, but it wasn't built for speed like a cheetah. Instead, it was an ambush predator, built for power and grappling. Its strong arms would have been perfect for holding on to large, struggling prey while it delivered its fatal bite. It had a semi-retractable claw on its thumb, which could have been used to help secure a grip on its victims. This body plan tells us it was a creature that relied on strength and surprise rather than long-distance chases to catch its dinner. And now, for the pouch. Because Thylacosmilus was a sparassodont, a type of extinct carnivorous marsupial relative, it's highly likely that it had a pouch for raising its young. While soft tissues like pouches don't fossilize, its relationship to other marsupials makes this a very strong possibility. Imagine this fierce, saber-toothed hunter with a tiny developing joey tucked safely away in its pouch. It's an incredible image that highlights just how different this animal was from the placental predators we know today. This combination of fearsome predatory features and marsupial reproduction makes Thylacosmilus one of the most unique mammals to have ever existed. To truly understand an animal, you have to understand its world. Thylacosmilus lived during the Miocene and Pliocene epochs, from about 9 to 3 million years ago. During this time, South America was an island continent, completely isolated from North America. This isolation created a unique evolutionary laboratory. Without competition from the big placental predators found elsewhere in the world, marsupials and other native groups evolved to fill all the major ecological roles. Thylacosmilus rose to become one of the apex predators in this incredible self-contained ecosystem. It was the king of its world, a marsupial answer to the big cats. The environment it called home was a mosaic of open grasslands, savannas, and woodlands. This type of habitat would have been perfect for an ambush predator. The tall grasses and scattered trees would have provided excellent cover for Thylacosmilus to stalk its prey unseen. The climate was generally warmer and drier than it is today in many parts of South America, supporting vast herds of large herbivores. These plant eaters were the main course on the menu for predators like Thylacosmilus, providing the fuel needed to sustain such a large and powerful hunter. It was a world teeming with life, full of giants. The prey animals that shared this world with Thylacosmilus were just as strange and wonderful. It likely hunted large, slow-moving herbivores that wouldn't have been able to outrun it in a chase. These included animals like toxodonts, which looked a bit like a hornless rhinoceros, and macrauchenia, a camel-like creature with a strange, trunk-like snout. It may have also preyed upon giant ground sloths and glyptodonts, which were armored beasts related to armadillos. These animals were large and often well-defended, so Thylacosmilus needed all of its strength and specialized weaponry to bring them down. It was a high-stakes game of survival every single day. Living in this isolated world meant Thylacosmilus had its own set of competitors. It wasn't the only predator on the block. It shared its habitat with giant terror birds or forest wrasses, which were huge, flightless, carnivorous birds that could stand over 10 feet tall. These birds were also formidable predators, and they would have competed with Thylacosmilus for the same food sources. There were also other carnivorous mammals and even giant land-dwelling crocodilians. It was a tough neighborhood, and only the strongest and most adaptable hunters could survive and thrive at the top of the food chain in ancient South America. Section 4. The Hunter's Strategy Stalking Prehistoric Giants. So, how did a predator with such a unique set of tools actually hunt? The strategy of Thylacosmilus was likely one of patience, stealth, and overwhelming power. It was not a marathon runner. Its stocky, muscular build tells us it was an ambush predator through and through. It would have used the cover of tall grasses or patches of woodland to sneak up as close as possible to its unsuspecting victim. Like a modern-day jaguar, it would have relied on the element of surprise. The hunt would have been a short, explosive burst of energy, not a long chase across the open plains. Every movement would have been calculated and precise. Once it was close enough, the attack would have been sudden and ferocious. Using its powerful forelimbs and semi-retractable thumb claws, Thylacosmilus would have grabbed onto its prey, wrestling it to the ground or holding it steady. This grappling phase was critical. It needed to immobilize the large, powerful herbivore before it could use its ultimate weapon. A struggling animal could easily break those long, delicate saber teeth, which would have been a death sentence for the predator. The strength of its arms and chest was just as important as the sharpness of its fangs in securing a meal. The killing blow was delivered not with a powerful bite, but with a downward thrust of the head. Using its incredibly strong neck muscles, Thylacosmilus would have driven its twin sabers deep into the soft throat or neck of its prey. The target would have been the major blood vessels, like the carotid artery and jugular vein. This would have caused rapid blood loss and a quick, efficient death for the victim. This neck bite hypothesis is supported by the animal's anatomy, particularly its strong neck and the lack of powerful jaw-closing muscles. It was a highly specialized and deadly technique. After the kill, how did it eat? With those giant sabers in the way, it couldn't have eaten like a modern cat, gnawing on flesh and bone. Some scientists believe it may have used its smaller incisor teeth at the front of its mouth to pull strips of meat off the carcass. It might have also used its tongue and lips to lap up the blood. It likely focused on the soft, fleshy parts of its prey, like the belly and internal organs, which would have been easier to access. The exact feeding method is still debated, but it's clear that everything about this animal, from its hunting style to its dinner etiquette, was uniquely adapted to its specialized anatomy. Section 5. A Tale of Two Sabertooths, Marsupial versus Cat. When people hear sabertooth, they almost always think of Smilodon, the famous saber-toothed cat. But Thylacosmilus proves that you don't have to be a cat to be a sabertooth. This is a classic example of what scientists call convergent evolution. That's when two completely unrelated species independently evolve similar traits because they live in similar environments or have similar lifestyles. Both Smilodon and Thylacosmilus were apex predators that hunted large game, and both evolved massive canine teeth to do it. But when you look closer, you see just how different these two amazing animals really were under the surface. Let's start with their family trees. Smilodon was a felid, a true cat, and a placental mammal. This means it's related to modern lions, tigers, and your house cat. It gave birth to well-developed young and likely nursed them in a den. Thylacosmilus, on the other hand, was a sparassodont, a member of an extinct group of metatherian mammals. It was a marsupial relative, meaning its closest living kin are kangaroos and opossums. It would have given birth to tiny underdeveloped young that completed their development in a pouch. They were on completely different branches of the mammal family tree, separated by over 100 million years of evolution. Their famous sabers were also different. Smilodon's teeth were long, slender, and flattened like blades, making them excellent for slicing. Thylacosmilus's teeth were more triangular and cone-shaped, and they grew continuously. Furthermore, Smilodon had no bony flange on its lower jaw, it simply closed its mouth with its teeth resting outside. Thylacosmilus had those unique chin guard-like flanges to protect its fangs. These differences in their primary weapons suggest they may have used them in slightly different ways, even if the overall goal, a lethal neck bite, was the same. It shows two different blueprints for building the same deadly tool. Even their bodies showed key differences. While both were powerful, Smilodon had an incredibly robust build, often described as a bear cat, with massively powerful forelimbs for wrestling prey. Thylacosmilus was also strong but perhaps a bit less specialized for grappling than the most extreme species of Smilodon. The very existence of these two animals is a powerful lesson in evolution. It demonstrates that the saber-tooth design was such an effective way to hunt megafauna that it evolved independently on different continents in completely different types of mammals. Nature, it seems, sometimes finds the same brilliant solution more than once. Section 6. The End of an Era, the Extinction of Thylacosmilus. For millions of years, Thylacosmilus was the undisputed king of its domain. It was a perfectly adapted predator for the isolated world of South America. But no reign lasts forever. Around 3 million years ago, the world of Thylacosmilus began to change dramatically, and these changes would ultimately lead to its extinction. One of the most significant events was a major geological shift known as the Great American Biotic Interchange. The Isthmus of Panama rose from the sea, forming a land bridge that connected the long isolated continents of North and South America for the first time in millions of years. This opened the floodgates for a massive migration of animals in both directions. This interchange brought a new wave of highly successful predators from North America pouring into the South American continent. Among these new arrivals were placental carnivores like bears, wolves, and most importantly, true saber-toothed cats like Smilodon. These newcomers were fierce competitors. They were fast, intelligent, and hunted in ways that the native South American fauna had never encountered. Suddenly, Thylacosmilus was no longer the only big predator on the block. It faced intense competition for food, territory, and survival from these new, highly efficient hunters. It was a clash of two worlds. The new competition from placental predators is often seen as the main reason for the decline of Thylacosmilus. The saber-toothed cats, in particular, were direct competitors for the same large prey. It's possible that they were simply more efficient hunters, perhaps being faster, smarter, or better adapted to a wider range of prey. Some theories suggest that the invading predators were better at hunting the faster-moving herbivores that also migrated south, leaving Thylacosmilus with a dwindling supply of its preferred slow-moving targets. It was outcompeted in its own backyard by these invasive species. On top of the new competition, the climate and environment were also changing. Global cooling trends led to shifts in vegetation, altering the habitats that Thylacosmilus and its prey relied on. The open woodlands and savannas may have changed, affecting the populations of the large herbivores that were the foundation of the food web. This combination of increased competition and environmental change created a perfect storm. Unable to adapt to this new, more competitive world, the magnificent Thylacosmilus, the saber-tooth with a pouch, vanished from the earth, leaving only its amazing fossils behind as evidence of its long and successful reign. Section 7. A Legacy in Stone. Why Thylacosmilus Still Matters. The story of Thylacosmilus may have ended millions of years ago, but its legacy lives on in the fossil record. This incredible creature is far more than just a prehistoric curiosity. It is a vital piece of the evolutionary puzzle. For paleontologists, every Thylacosmilus fossil is a treasure trove of information. It teaches us about the incredible diversity of life that can arise in isolation. The evolution of a saber-toothed marsupial predator on a continent dominated by marsupials shows just how adaptable this group of mammals can be. It shatters the misconception that marsupials are somehow less evolved than placental mammals, proving they could produce apex predators just as formidable as any big cat. Thylacosmilus is one of the most spectacular examples of convergent evolution in the entire fossil record. The fact that it independently evolved a saber-toothed body plan so similar to that of the true saber-toothed cats is a powerful lesson in how natural selection works. It shows that when faced with similar environmental pressures, in this case, the need to hunt large, thick-skinned herbivores, evolution can drive completely unrelated lineages toward the same solution. Studying the similarities and differences between Thylacosmilus and Smilodon helps scientists understand the biomechanics and constraints of being a large, saber-toothed predator. It's like having two separate experiments in evolution to compare. Furthermore, the extinction of Thylacosmilus provides a stark and valuable case study in the dynamics of competition and invasive species. The Great American Biotic Interchange was one of the biggest natural experiments in history. By studying how native species like Thylacosmilus fared when new competitors arrived, we can learn about the fragility of ecosystems. Its story is a prehistoric parallel to modern conservation issues, where the introduction of invasive species can have devastating effects on native wildlife. It's a reminder that even top predators that have been successful for millions of years can be vulnerable to rapid environmental change and new pressures. In the end, Thylacosmilus captures our imagination because it is so wonderfully strange and unexpected. It's a powerful symbol of a lost world, and a testament to the endless creativity of evolution. It was a marsupial that thought it was a saber-toothed cat, a bizarre and beautiful combination of features that nature is unlikely to ever repeat. By studying its bones, we don't just learn about one extinct animal, we gain a deeper appreciation for the complex, interconnected story of life on Earth. The saber-tooth with a pouch will forever remain one of the most awe-inspiring creatures to have ever roamed our planet, a true icon of prehistoric wildlife.